Hello, hello, hello. Happy 2024 and welcome to Wanderlusting Lawyer. I am back after too long of a hiatus. I had some time off over the holidays. I was spending time with my wife's family in France, and then we went to a wedding in southern Spain, in Sevilla to be specific. And I saw the starting point for the Via de la Plata, and it got me all thinking about how much I want to do that Camino someday. Though it really seems like it's a hard one to time since it can be quite warm in Sevilla kind of all year around, but especially starting in March, April, but then still pretty chilly up north. So if you've done that one, please drop a message below telling me what time of year you did it and how it worked out with the weather. But yeah, I am back. You may see that I have some new equipment in front of me. Well, I should say new because I've had this for 2 years. I got this for Christmas 2 years ago. And this may explain a little bit, and I will get into the video, but this may explain a little bit about why sometimes I have these breaks in my videos or I'm not producing as much content as I would like. I just get really into my head. I'm a perfectionist. It's my dream to have this channel just grow exponentially. And when I see that I don't really get a lot of new subscribers, when I spend a ton of time and energy researching, practicing, and recording the videos, I can get a little bit down on myself. And then I'm like, well, it's because my videos don't have this fancy introduction, or I'm not just, I don't want to say pandering, but pandering to the masses of like, here's what I wish I knew the first time, and just recycling content that everyone uses. I really try to be a unique voice in the space. And so all of that to say, with the microphone, I was overwhelmed by thinking about learning how to use it. And so then I just avoided it, right? And it ended up taking me between figuring out how to put it together, the research, practicing, maybe 30 minutes. I mean, it would have been so easy to do that. But anyway, I finally did it. Here we are. Maybe I will get into video editing next. But for those of you who actually watch my videos, I know you appreciate my authenticity and kind of my voice in this space. So what I will ask you to do, of course, is please hit that like button. Leave a comment below. Let me know you watched and how you're doing. And if you wouldn't mind, share the video with friends and family and people who are thinking about doing the Camino, or if you're in any Camino groups and you think this would be useful, please, you have my permission to share it. So without further ado, I will get into today's video. I actually am going to be talking, and I get lots of weird comments about not making eye contact in my videos. I have my laptop here. I'm going to be looking at it to make sure I talk about all of the really important information I want to get across today. But I'm going to be talking about 4 different options for storing your extra luggage when you hike the Camino de Santiago. I will not be talking about baggage transfer every day while you're walking, right? So say you want to walk and just carry a day pack and not carry your full hiking backpack, or if you have like a little suitcase you're bringing and you want to transfer that ahead every day. I've never done that. I don't have first-hand experience. Lots of videos out there and articles will tell you how to do that and talk about the best companies. Maybe one day I'll try it just to get the experience, and then I can give you my insight. But what I can talk to you about is, what do you do when you have extra luggage, either while you're on the Camino and you're like, hey, I packed too much, I need to do something with this, or if the Camino is part of a longer European stay or trip, what do you do with that extra luggage? So I have a bunch of different options. I really haven't seen anybody out there talking about this, and I actually have firsthand experience with 3 of these options. So I hope this will be helpful, and I was actually inspired to make this video because one of the services I'll talk about just posted they're offering some new services. It's Casa Ivar, 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 and I have used them. I will make a separate video just reviewing them because I know sometimes people want like a quicker soundbite video if that's what the option that they're looking at. But today I'm just going to go through really in pretty high level detail the 4 options, like what do you do with your extra stuff, and which is, each option, what scenario is it best used in. Okay, so the first option is called Express Bourricot, Bourricot. And I'll put all the names, the links, the information down below, of course. So this is a French company French organization based in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, where the Camino Francais starts and where the Camino from Le Puy-en-Velay ends. And this is going to be your best option if you are someone who is starting in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and ending in Santiago. Those are very important parameters. It's a really easy drop-off process. So I used them in 2018 when I did the Camino Francais, because I was spending like over 3 months in Europe in several different kind of climates, and I was going to be attending like a professional conference after. So I needed lots of different clothing options and had a big suitcase, heavy suitcase that I needed to ship ahead and have waiting for me in Santiago. So it was a really easy drop-off process. And actually, this same company has several services, one of which is kind of like a transfer service. So they'll pick you up at the train station or airport in, I think, Bayonne, Biarritz, maybe a few other options. I use them for the transport. It was very easy. And then their office is right in the middle of town in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, very close to the Pilgrim's office, if I remember correctly. So it's an easy drop-off process. You just go with your baggage. Now, pay attention to the hours. Always check the website before you go, because it could always change between when I'm making this video in February 2023 or 2024 and when you're going to be doing your Camino. But right now, their hours are 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 8 p.m. So if you are planning to get in, sometimes the trains get into Saint-Jean around 10, 11 p.m. and maybe you're trying to start walking at 6 a.m. to get to Roncesvalles. This probably won't be an option for you unless you can wait a day. So just know those hours. But it's nice because you have some morning hours as well as evening hours. It's 70 euros as of today. Make sure you have the cash unless you happen to have a French checkbook, because apparently they also accept French checks. The storage location in Santiago, I didn't recognize the name on the website as being the same one I went to or not. I think it is. It's like a pretty big hostel albergue in Santiago. It's a little bit outside of the city. So that just meant because my suitcase was super heavy, I actually I walked to where I picked it up and then took a cab back. So it's not the most convenient place in Santiago, but it's also not inconvenient, especially when you're used to walking by that point when you get there. I was also trying to figure out if I got a notice when my baggage arrived in Santiago, just for peace of mind. I don't have that information. If I can find out from the company, I will put it in the information below, or I'll make just a quick follow-up video. So I don't remember that. But the one thing, I'd say the one con about this company, it's one of the more expensive options, but 70 euros is, for me, for that service offered, is really not bad at all, is that you really have no option other than to finish in Santiago, right? Like, you can't, if you want to go get your bag, you can't decide to finish the Camino and leave Spain elsewhere. You've got to go pick up your bag in Santiago. So that is Express Bourricot. And again, it's best if you're starting in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and you're going to be finishing in Santiago. The second option is Casa Ivar. That's what I mentioned a couple minutes ago. So traditionally, this company has been best. And so you may recognize the name because they run a whole Camino forum, kind of like a Reddit before Reddit was Reddit, and people talk about all things Camino. Very, very useful. And they offer some other services as well and have really great videos on YouTube with all their information. But traditionally, one of their most popular services offered has been luggage storage in Santiago. And it's traditionally best not traditionally. In my experience, what my experience was, and I found this to be really easy, is this is a great option if you're actually arriving in Santiago when you get to Spain, and then going elsewhere to start your Camino to then arrive back in Santiago. And that might sound weird, but I think that's what a lot of people do. For example, for starting the portion of the Camino Frances from Sarria, or like I did the Camino Inglés from Ferrol. I flew into Santiago, spent the night there, and then bus up to Ferrol, so it was super easy. I just took my suitcase and I dropped it off with Casa Ivar. They have a very central location. You just want to pay attention to their hours sorry about that, because they have quite limited hours, and you can be out of luck in terms of dropping off your bag or picking it up within your specific window if you don't pay attention to that. But it's a central location. I do know they just moved locations in September, but I looked on the map. It still looks very central. It's a really easy process. You just go there with your bag, ring the doorbell, someone comes, they tag the bag, they keep it in the room, and then when you want to pick it up, you pick it up. I think they store for up to 90 days is what I remember seeing. But like I said, be sure to check the availability because, for example, right now in winter, they're only open from 10 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Closed on the weekends, and I think I saw on their website, if you communicate with them ahead of time, there is a possibility for a small drop-off fee for Friday night. Like if you're going to be arriving to your final hotel or accommodation Saturday or Sunday, they can drop the bag at the hotel. Obviously, you need prior permission from your lodging, but that is an option. But yeah, you really want to make sure you understand their availability. They have longer hours, not longer day hours in summer, but I think they have some weekend hours in summer. Super affordable, €25. They just upped their prices for the first time in 10 years, I think they said. A small suitcase or bag is €25 and a big one is €35. And I mean, my suitcase was big, it was heavy, and I thought that was an incredibly fair price. Very trustworthy company, lots of reviews, affordable. The security, I was a little nervous because at least at the old location, it was just like on a corner, a room where that had maybe 100 bags. And I was like, man, anyone could break in here and steal all these bags. But they do have security signs posted on the door. They have security cameras. I've never heard of them having an issue, but I don't know about the new location. And I mean, my stuff was totally fine. So they seem to really have their system down. Okay, so you can also, if you're not going to be starting in Santiago and leaving your bag there, you can always use the Spanish post office, which is called Correos, to send your bag to Casa Ivar. They provide their address on their website. They give you really precise instructions for the actual service to use so that it gets to them. I haven't used this, and I'll talk more about the Correos option below because there are other options not related to Casa Ivar. But obviously the issue is that like any national postal service, issues can arise and your bag could go missing. I mean, I would assume it gets there safely, but so let's say you are in, you get to Pamplona and you're like, I have way too much stuff. You can go to the Correos office, just send it to Casa Ivar in Santiago. Your stuff will presumably arrive and they'll store it till you pick it up. And payment is upon pickup, whether you drop off or send it. At least that was my experience last summer with the drop off. So yeah, you would use the Correos Spanish post office to send your package to Casa Ivar and they'll store it for you until you come pick it up. Now, they have 2 new services that they mentioned, and one of them I think is awesome. I think this solves a ton of people's travel woes with like, what am I going to do with my bag? They partner with DHL, which is, I've seen it in the US a couple times, but it's like UPS or FedEx, but just way more common in Europe. They will pick up your bag from anywhere in France, Spain, or Portugal and take it on to Santiago. And it's just a closer line of, it's Casa Ivar basically contracts with DHL directly, so there's a lot closer of a line of communication, I'm imagining, and less of a chance that something happens to your bag, like that it goes missing. But obviously things can happen, but it's just, it's a more direct connection between you sending your bag and it getting there. But obviously it comes at a cost. It is a more expensive service. I think the service, I should have checked again. It was either 70 or 90 euros. I will check and then get that information down below. So it's a little bit more expensive, but comes with probably a little bit better peace of mind. And they can also ship your stuff home, right? So if you can't make your pickup window and you have to leave Santiago, they can arrange for it to be shipped back to wherever you're from with, I believe, DHL. Or if you also said, like, have your sweaty Camino stuff, your backpack and everything, and you're going to keep traveling around Europe and you don't want to take both, they can also ship your backpack home. They seem to have pretty reasonable rates for that, but I'm sure it depends on where it's going to. Obviously, once again, you've got to finish in Santiago for this option to work, unless you want to pay for your bag to be shipped home. Okay, so now we're getting to an option that has a little bit more flexibility. This is Spanish Correos, the post office service. I have not used this, so this information comes from reading reviews and articles about people that have used this, and also there's a whole page on the Spanish post office Correos website that they detail this. This is a great option for if you want to ship from basically anywhere in Spain with a Correos post office to anywhere else in Spain with a Correos post office. It could be Santiago de Compostela if you don't want to ship to Casa Ivar or use Express Bourricot, or it could be somewhere else. So say, for example, you start in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, you get to Pamplona, you realize you have too much stuff, and you're only going on to Logroño or León. You can go to the post office, put all your stuff you don't want in a box, and then ship it to the Spanish Correos post office in that city, and they'll hold it for you for up to 45 days, which is really nice. Gives a lot of flexibility. Or say, for example, you arrive in Madrid and you need to get to Saint-Jean to start, and you have an extra suitcase for the end of your trip, and you're going to be finishing in, Santiago or León or wherever. You would hit up the Correos, one of the Correos offices in Madrid, send your baggage, go on your way with just your backpack, and then, hopefully it's there waiting for you when you arrive. Now, you'll want to check, the hours, because I think each Correos office can have different hours. A lot of places in Spain either close, around 1 or 2, and then reopen for lunch, maybe around 5, or they just stay closed the rest of the day. Weekend hours may vary depending on the location. Maybe cities have longer hours than some of the town locations. So that is one drawback. You're just never quite sure. So if you have flexibility, like a day or two built in on either end to drop it off and to pick it up, that's probably going to be helpful. It's an incredibly affordable option. So how much it costs depends on the weight of your bag and the storage time. But the most expensive option is with a bag that's up to between 15 and 25 kilo, or between 16 and 25 kilograms, which is like up to probably 55 pounds, for 45 days of storage, or I think between 30 and 45 days of storage. It's only 46 euros and 40 cents. So about $50, give or take. Really, really affordable option. So that's, knowing some Spanish will probably facilitate this process. So that's something else to keep in mind, but it seems to be a really great option, and it's like a whole branch of the Spanish post office that is dedicated to transporting pilgrims, materials. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody who speaks, English on the team that can help out with that. But your mileage may vary, and probably in smaller locations, some rudimentary Spanish will help, or at least really studying the website and going with, I think you actually can reserve online, actually. So that should really help the process go more smoothly. And my hope would be, maybe I'll try to do like a dummy reservation to see what happens, but my hope would be it tells you like the hours of each location where you're sending from and picking up, and that'll alleviate some of the stress. Now, the last option is for sending things in France. And I have experience with this personally, so I can't talk about this. I don't have any experience with any of the service in Portugal yet, but this is this is called Mes Baggages. It's the service offered by SNCF, which is the French railway system. So this is obviously best if you just need to ship things in France. So if you, for example, you're getting to Paris, you're arriving to Paris, you're going to go start the Chemin de Le Puy, and that starts in Le Puy-en-Velay, and you're going to finish in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and then you're going to keep traveling, and you need your bag to wait for you in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. It's approximately, these services are between 30 and 50 euros, so pretty affordable. The website, you can probably use Google Translate, but the website is in French, so that's a little extra potential difficulty navigating. But again, you do your reservation online, so my guess is with Google Translate, it should be pretty easy to follow. The hiccup with this service, so there are 2 delivery options. They'll pick it up from wherever, so your hotel, or if you're staying at an Airbnb or wherever, you'll coordinate pickup. But for delivery, the ideal is that you have a place that the bag can stay, like a hotel you're going to be staying at. If you're staying with friends, if you have family, a place that the bag can be delivered and it can stay securely. I was able to do this because I was starting my Camino from Oloron-Sainte-Marie, and I was going to then take the train back to France to then go to my wife's family's house. So I just shipped my bag with this service to her family's house in the south of France. Easy peasy. They were super nice, no problems, really went quite smoothly. Now, there is another option, which is that you can have it sent to what's called a point relais, like a relay point, if you will. And there are a lot of them throughout France. But the hiccup is that they only hold it for up to 8 days. And my wife and I were looking at the website together, and it's not clear to us is that 8 days from arrival, which is 1 to 2 days after you send it, is that 8 days, even if yes, does that include the day of arrival, or does the clock start the day after? So we're not sure. Again, maybe if you try to do a dummy reservation, it'll say, your bag must be picked up by X date. My wife did give the warning of, if you don't pick it up by whatever date it is you're supposed to, there's a very real chance they could send it back from where it came, from whence it came. Is that how you say that? I don't know how it would work in this point, with a baggage that you sent from wherever you came from, but if they, it might go back to the hotel you sent it from. So a good example of when I saw this being useful is if you are starting in Le Puy-en-Velay and you're going to do 7-8 days it takes, I think, to get to Conques, that first little bit. So we saw that there's a point relais in Espeyrac, Espeyrac. So you could always walk to Conques and then take a taxi to get back. Espeyrac is the day before. So if, you could take a taxi and then go get your bag there. This is best navigated with help from a French speaker, but I just wanted to show that there are options. I know I've been stressed before because I usually do Caminos as part of a longer trip to spend time with my in-laws. And so I've oftentimes been stressed about what I'm going to do with my bag. So yeah, these are 4 options. I hope that is helpful. Any questions you have, post them below. I'll do my best to try to get the information. And yeah, obviously if I end up on a Camino in Portugal, I'll try to find out how their system works. But I hope this was helpful, and like I said, I'll have a little bit more detailed review of Casa Ivar coming up, and lots of other videos. So I'm back, 2024, stay tuned, and as always, guys, buen camino.